Jeremiah chapter 7, verse 1 to 7, page 897. Jeremiah speaks in the temple. The Lord told me to stand by the gate of the temple and to tell people who are going in that the Lord all-powerful, the God of Israel, has said, "Pay attention, people of Judah. Change your ways and start living right. Then I will let you keep on living in your own country. Don't fool yourselves. My temple is here in Jerusalem. But that doesn't mean I will protect you. I will keep you safe only if you change your ways. Be fair and honest with each other. Stop taking advantage of foreigners, orphans, and widows. Don't kill innocent people and stop worshiping other gods. Then I will let you enjoy a long life in this land I gave your ancestors." Amen.
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 I felt that this reading today was very appropriate for Lent. And I wanted to talk about Lent today because there are a certain amount of people that are followers of Christ who don't observe Lent. And that's all right. Lent is not in the Bible. How many people know that? It's not in the Bible. Christmas isn't in the Bible either. The Jehovah's Witnesses are right on that, but so wrong on not wanting to celebrate a very important birthday. In some countries where there is not much literacy and most people are born at home, births are not recorded when the person is born. Everybody is born on January the 1st. Everybody. So that's the way they celebrate. And the important thing is not that we have the date right. Is that we there honor the person and say, "I am so glad that you are a part of my life." So Lent goes way, way, way back. All of your Eastern Orthodox churches, your Greek Orthodox, your Russian Orthodox, and some of the other Orthodox churches celebrate it. Your Anglicans, which would be the Episcopal Church here in the United States, Methodists, Lutherans, some Presbyterians, some United Church of Christ, and I can go on, and even some what they call anti-Baptist churches, like the Mennonites, they celebrate it as well. So it's not something unusual, and it isn't biblical. So what we're doing is that we're having insight as the years go by and finding that our lives are very seasonal. Think of your own life. Don't you feel different in the summer than you do here today? Yeah. And also when it's lighter for many more hours, and then on December the 21st it gets really dark. Doesn't it do something to you to make you feel different? Lent is a time, it's 40 days, excluding the Sundays, when between Ash Wednesday and what they call the Easter Vigil, which is the day before Easter, where people are to think about where they've gone wrong, and we've all gone wrong, no one is perfect, to think about how we can change our ways. Some of us would fast and also give up luxuries, like meat for some folks. To me, giving up fish would be more of a luxury than giving up meat. I like fish. Also, it's an opportunity, if you have a bad habit, like too much smoking or whatever, if you can hang in there for 40 days, the nicotine is out of your system. So that's an opportunity. But it's also a time of almsgiving. In other words, helping others in need. And in our Legend series that we will be having, now we'll have 4 more weeks, we're meeting missionaries who've really put their lives on the line in many cases, who don't have a lot of money in order to be able to assist people, but assist them with their love and their talents and whatever contributions other people can make so that they can go out and really make big changes in people's lives. And so we will be taking a collection in March for the one great hour of sharing, which I want to encourage you to give to, because our missionaries barely have enough money to survive. And a lot of the volunteer missionaries get zero. It's all on their own funds. And they do that out of their love of God and trying to follow in Christ's ways. Jeremiah, in the reading this morning, is trying to beg the people, don't you see what you're doing? Can't you change? Some of you are worshiping the gods of your neighbors, the gods and goddesses. Some of them, I know it sounds shocking, we were discussing this in Bible and Bagels this morning. Some of them even engaged in temple prostitutes, because this is something that some of the other folks around them were doing. Some of them were worshiping their gods and goddesses because it was what I call cheap religion. If you go to a faith place and there are no standards as far as behavior, no one's asking you to be kind, no one's asking you to share, no one's asking you to give up ways that are very harmful to you and to others around you. If you can just continue being mean to people, treating foreigners as if they're third class, ignoring, particularly then, widows and orphans really had it bad because the widows couldn't go out and get a job. If you do all these things, you are really turning against God. And I know it's a cheap faith when you can go and dance and get drunk and party and feel that now you're in a temple of some kind of faith tradition and there are no standards put on you as far as how you behave. This is what Jeremiah was saying. Change your ways, people. I cannot protect you if you continue this way. You have to see what you're doing and basically do a 180, because that's what's necessary. We have a lot of things going on now that we have to do the same thing. Especially of what we say, not only actions, but words. Sometimes words can be very, very unkind and piercing to another person or to people around us. Do we ever say mean things about people who are from another place and we don't even know them? They might not be the nicest folks in the world, but if you don't know them, you really don't have an opportunity to find out, do you? And what about those who are truly in need? Doesn't it make a difference? Not only at Lent, but any other time of the year, to donate food to food banks so that they can feed people that are hungry. Our churches should not be places where the pastor and the people that are on the top of the church hierarchy get rich at the expense of people who barely can etch out a living. Notice I don't have a private helicopter, right? Don't have one. On my own jet. I don't have one. And I always say my car, my dream car, all I want to do is just drive around the block. That's all I want. Is an Audi A8. Okay? I don't have one, do I? I can't even afford to rent one. You ever figured out all this money and stuff like that? But I'm joking about this, of course, too. But this is not what church is about. This is not what Jesus was about. Jesus was about changing your life that not only benefits you, but benefits everyone around you. He never, ever asked anybody to starve, did he? How did Jesus get people to come to him and to talk with him so he could share the good news? Think about it. What did he do? Oh, you must have read your Bible.
He traveled around.
He traveled around. Now, what did he do?
He prayed with people.
He prayed with them.
And he
What? He asked them, And what were they usually doing when he was talking to them? Eating and drinking. The Pharisees were out there fasting. Oh, I hope God notices what I'm doing. Oh, I'm so hungry. I'm so thirsty. Oh, and there's Jesus sitting there with all his little friends, and new people that want to hear the good news, and they're eating and drinking. And I don't mean getting drunk. I'm just talking about eating and drinking, okay? That is one good way to talk to somebody if you're sharing food at the same table, right?
Yes.
And that's what he did. So he didn't ask people to go hungry, but he didn't ask them to live in a palace or live lavishly. And the other thing that I wanted to talk about real briefly, because it does happen today, but in a different form. The priesthood was so corrupt back in those days that they would say, oh, your sin was really bad, so I better want 8 sheep, and they better be perfect. And so they sacrificed the one, and what did they do with the other 7?
They ate them.
They sold them. Yeah. The priests were really, that was the kind of business you want to get into, to be a priest, right? Because they had all that access to all those sheep and goats and things like that, and then they'd sell them off. Back in the time of Martin Luther, that was called indulgences. Times really haven't changed, have they? We are in Lent, whether you observe it or you don't. But it's a real opportunity at this time of the year to grow deeper, to think about how you can live your life better. How can I make people around me happier? How can I bring joy into the world? And more than anything, how can I follow Jesus Christ as my model so that I can truly share the good news to everybody I meet and greet? Amen.
Amen.